DM Fox fam, welcome to the ShapeShift DAO All Fox number 5. This is where we go over everything that all of the work streams have been working on over the last 2 months, going over what everyone's done, their work, what they've been working on, KPIs, major accomplishments, the good and the bad, kind of everything that's been going on here. So we're going to go through all of the work streams, starting with product, ending with the foundation, and a whole bunch of people in between. I see you're up here. You want to take over this DAO vision?
Yeah, just a reminder of the vision as it currently stands. And maybe this might change slightly coming out of the DAO powwow in a couple weeks. But as of right now, our vision is still that we envision a borderless financial system built on open, decentralized protocols, and we shall be the pathway into this borderless financial system, open source, multi-chain, self-custody crypto platform, enabling billions to achieve financial sovereignty. We migrated both the mobile apps, iOS and Android, and then we migrated beta to app.shapeshift.com. Super big milestones, and just shout out to everybody who worked so hard to reach those. Right now, there's a bunch of cleanup going on. I'm sure DeFi is going to go into more of the nitty gritty of all the cleanup that's happening post-migration. As you guys know, Pendo is our analytics tool. We would really like to get the surveys working and the guides working inside the tool. So the engineering team is going to help us get those going shortly with this cleanup that they're working on. So hopefully we'll be able to start getting some more direct user feedback utilizing Pendo going forward. Some of the bounties that are wrapping up yet, we finally got the referral link from them today. So hopefully that one will be able to be turned on behind that feature flag and go live. Osmosis, the Osmosis team met up with DeFi last week, identified a couple of things that they need to do to get the first part of that bounty piece behind the feature flag over the finish line. And then they will start to work on LP as well for Osmosis. And then Wallet Connect 2.0, that one was a bounty sponsored by the Keep Key workstream that product had put together. DeFi is taking the reins on that one and getting that one over the finish line. And this is using ShapeShift as the provider, this is Wallet Connect, ShapeShift as the wallet essentially. So there's more information on that inside the product ocean. But this will be a really cool feature. There'll be dApps that live on site in shapeshift.com that users will be able to go out to. It's going to be really awesome. I'm hoping that we'll get a lot of data from this as well. And if we see a lot of usage with some particular dApps, we can consider some native integrations, things like that. But we're really excited about the Wallet Connect 2.0. And then Idle Finance, this one is almost at the finish line. There are some pieces to get multi-account support going. And so hopefully in a couple weeks, that one will get completed. Again, the core engineering team is taking over the Idle Finance integration to get that finished. And then MetaMask Snaps is in flight. That's going for the audit at the end of the month. So any day now, I think on the 31st maybe. And then, like I said before, Osmosis LP, I think Highlander and Postagos are taking the reins on that one from the Osmosis Bounty team. Okay, new features, things that product has been working on that are possibly up next. As you guys know, there's been a lot of conversations going on around what is next on the product roadmap. So one of the things that we are starting to do on the product side is put together business cases for what should come next. As you guys know, one of our biggest initiatives has been to get to parity and then sunset legacy infrastructure. Now that that's over, we're going to be much more strategic about the business decisions going forward. But currently, things that are queued up are yieldies, advanced trade settings, and Thorchain LP. Where these lie in priority is TBD at this moment in time, but these are the features that product has queued up next at this moment. Some other ideas that we've been working on the product side in collaboration with DeFi and the engineering team and marketing, looking at pages on shapeshift.com that rank well for us and with SEO and have a lot of traffic, and using those as funnels for user acquisition onto app.shapeshift.com. So right now we see a lot of traffic coming through 3 particular pages, all related to buying crypto. So we're planning to, and you can see here, there's an image. We're opening up this buy crypto page inside the demo wallet so that it can be crawled by Google And we're going to use this as a user acquisition funnel for buying crypto. So we're going to try to capitalize on some of that SEO juice that we already have and use this to pull more users into the platform. We're also looking to do the same thing with the trade page and the DeFi earn sections. Again, a lot of this is because it's behind a splash screen on app.shapeshift.com. It's not ranked for SEO. So we're basically getting these pages ready and going to be exposing them and being able to point traffic directly to them as user acquisition funnels. And then just a fun fact I threw in here, product has transferred 45K USDC back to the treasury that we had left over in stables. So that's good news. So analytics right now, we're looking at 13,000 monthly active users post-migration. We're gonna let this simmer for about a month before we set our baseline. And then daily active users are sitting right around 1,000. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's a little lower. But you can see the trend line on the right. Just over the past 30 days, we have much more daily active users. And obviously because this is us capturing now all of those app users as well that were on legacy products. And then wallet usage, here it looks like KeepKey has overtaken the native wallet, but I just want to remind you guys that this is just clicks. It's not, so for example, people that are using the mobile apps, they only connect their native wallet once and they don't need to click it again. So we can make the assumption that native wallet is still our most widely used wallet, but it is cool to see that we're starting to see even more traction with KeepKey since we've sunset beta, which is expected because we had a lot of KeepKey users still on beta. And then again, we don't know really how many users we have because we do not know how many people visit private.shapeshift.com. We only know the users that are choosing to use app.shapeshift.com. What we're looking at right now with iOS monthly active users is around 4,000, and with Android, it's around 2,000. One thing that's really interesting to see here on the right with their features, since we migrated the mobile app users, the buy, sell crypto has become like one of our top features. Before it probably sat around like 8th in position, but we're starting to see a lot more traffic through the buy and sell crypto feature. And I'll go into that in a little bit more in a second. So one of the things I wanted to look at too here, and we saw this before, but I just wanted to reiterate this. So the DeFi section, I know we're not seeing a ton of deposits into the Yearn vaults right now. And then we're gonna have IDLE that's gonna go live, but we do have about 42% of our daily active visitors going into the overview section and around 32% of them going into the earn section. And then since we migrated mobile and since we redirected the Fox farming page, we're seeing obviously traffic on Fox farming. Foxy, so 5% of users who explore depositing into Foxy confirm. And then with Fox farming, 7% of users that explore depositing into Fox farming confirm. We have a lot of users on the overview of Fox farming. We can make the assumption that those people are already farming and they're just checking their balances and claiming. And then Atom staking, I was having some issues with the data on the deposit screen, but we have 277 users that went into overview, and of those 20 confirmed staking. And then Yearn, on the overview screens, we saw around 502 visits of people exploring Yearn opportunities. 139 moved into a deposit step and only 4 confirmed. The most staked during this time period was USDC. And then more analytics. So trades, you can see the trend line here on the trades in that graph. Since we migrated mobile, so October 6th onward, we've got a lot more activity on preview and trade confirm. And this is because we're getting a lot of traffic on trades from mobile. So across all devices, users who previewed a trade is 1,200 in the last 30 days and who confirmed is 318. Of those, 536 previewed from mobile app and 118 were confirmed trades from the mobile apps. So 37% of trades actually came from the mobile apps, and it hasn't even been a full 30 days. And then 26% of users who clicked preview actually completed their trade. So I'm definitely seeing more trade volume now. So buy sell, this one's pretty interesting. So we had over the past 30 days, 11,100 clicks on the buy sell button. And I know we had changed that to a credit card icon. We are changing it back to a buy sell button on desktop, and then exploring some options for what that button would look like on mobile. But we are trying to figure out how to squeeze in all of the features and keep the UI clean. So bear with us as we explore some options. Top cryptos right now, as far as fiat on-ramp, is Bitcoin, ETH, Doge, USDC, USDT, and Atom. It's a bit of a pain and marketing and they can relate. But we've got 5 fiat on-ramp providers. Right now, only one of them provides us a dashboard, which is Banksa. Actually meeting with OnRapper next week to get a dashboard going with them. And then Juno Pay has also told us that there's a dashboard coming in November. So right now we have to manually go to all of these providers and ask for data every month, and everybody gives it to us in different ways, in different formats. So it's a little bit pain point. But what we are seeing is that we're getting a lot of traffic to these providers, Gem being the top one. I'm still waiting on them to get the latest numbers. Banksa, we saw 275 orders so far in October, and then in September we had 396. Although the actual value of the orders is higher this month so far than it was in September. Mount Pelerin, it looks like from the September data they sent over, we had 14 orders. We don't get the USDC value from them on the orders at this moment in time. And then I still don't have October numbers from them either. So hopefully by the next All Fox, we will have Juno Pay, OnRamper, more updated information from Gem, and then obviously, hopefully better from Mount Pelerin. We can probably slice and dice that data into an Excel spreadsheet of ours, or some kind of chart. Maybe Beard can work some magic there and we can make a chart for ourselves for the Mount Pelerin information. But definitely a lot of buy crypto activity. And then you can see on that trend line with the fiat ramp that since we've migrated mobile, again, we see a spike in activity like we did with trades with the fiat ramps. Cool. I'm going to hand it off to Gray Machine now.
Hello all. This should be pretty simple. Last month has largely had the creative services squad focusing on the mobile launch. So either marketing content or just general design content overall is focused on, and product launch, mostly the product launch. The product launch entailed getting all of the product images for the App Store, and Apple requires multiple aspects, people that have different hardware. So the required standards are meeting the iPhone 6.5 as well as iPhone 5.5, I guess is probably their legacy fallback. And then there's also iPad, which doubles as the desktop version. And then for all of those versions, we had English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese translations. And that is just for the product page. And then on the video side of things, we did both a 45 and 15-second version of a launch video, both in a wide 16:9 as well as a vertical 9:16 format, also in English, French, Spanish, Portuguese. So it was a lot of work. Pretty much done. I got a couple things of feedback from the globalization team about things that need to be adjusted or fine-tuned translation-wise. We still are. In fact, I might be stealing some thunder of marketing, so I won't go into too much detail, but a lot of the content we make goes to YouTube. So we're trying to keep a steady flow of content going to YouTube to hold viewership. And it's working out. Our views, view time, impressions, subscribers are all up, way up. Actually, I had it here. I just don't have room in my slide to put it, and it's probably not my area really to put analytics. But just to give you a feel, our watch time is up actually 9 hours over the last month. So it went from 20 hours to 29 hours, basically, the watch time. 400 more views. Subscribers are up 50, over 50 subscribers the last month. And our impressions, we're getting about 6,000, almost 7,000 impressions, which is pretty good. So it's just how many people actually see our brand, even if they don't click on the video. So doing well. And that's really about it. We should eventually focus on key stuff, but that is not in works, as well as internal stuff, branding guide, and all that has also been on hold while we get this mobile launch out. And I think that pretty much covers it for the Creative Services Squad. Thank you all.
Thank you, Gray Machine, and thanks to you previously. Now we've got engineering up. GM, sir.
GM. I thought I'd keep it really short today. We've got, as always, hard to follow product with all of the updates that Diggy gave, but we're pretty much along the same lines of things. So the migration effort was huge. Obviously, the last All Fox, when I was doing these slides, reviewed, and we said it'd be about the next month of effort. It ended up being roughly that, about 6 weeks. So big F in the chat for beta and the old mobile app, but that's thankfully all gone. Big thanks to the Fox Foundation for their support there, from Ocean not being here but lending Adam a lot, and to Major Hayes for doing a great job of the mobile app as well. Having said all that, we did have to cut some corners to get us over the line for migration, and now we're paying down that debt. So it's kind of across the board. James is doing a lot of work on the kind of DeFi section, a lot of rationalization and normalization of the data there. So kind of not quite calling it an LP abstraction for future stuff, but it's certainly a huge step in the right direction for that. Osmosis has to happen at some point soon, and we had a chat with the Osmo team about that. So it's going to make the existing kind of Fox ETH LP and staking stuff not only a lot more performant, but a lot easier to maintain, and then to build other ones on top of that, and just a lot easier to work with. Shout out to Apotheosis for manning the mop there, and really getting into the cleanup effort, but all the work that was done on the Swapper v2 and the ongoing cleanup effort there, making sure that we swapping is one of our core pieces of functionality, and making sure that that's really kind of a first-class experience, and putting some test coverage around that to maintain that, and really so it's the best place you can come to cover and swap. Kevin's working on a lot of stuff like self-hosted nodes is something. This is very much like maintenance work, but we're getting pushed away from some of our third-party data providers. So hosting our own nodes will mean they're going to be faster for users, especially the Cosmos stuff. They're going to be cheaper, more reliable. And then sharing knowledge with the team in terms of maintenance stuff. So we can spread the load a little bit there as well. Always just grinding away in the background, keeping the back end alive single-handedly. I've been working on some workflow improvements and taking over some of this existing work in progress. We've got Wallet Connect, there's still multi-account stuff, anything that's in progress, basically, trying to keep things moving. So where engineering is not pushing a lot of user-facing changes at the moment, but the changes that we are pushing are going to improve our quality and stability and maintenance, and so we can maintain a lovable product and not just a barely functional product, and we're able to build on it into the future. So that's pretty much the 2 or 3 minute update from engineering.
Well, thank you, sir. Looks like we are on to marketing.
GM. Wonderful, wonderful. We have a ton of stuff to cover, so I will just jump right into it. But what's happening in marketing? We have a goal, which is executing marketing campaigns to drive user growth while promoting revenue-generating features on app.shapeshift.com or for the ShapeShift brand. Recent campaigns being our mobile app and legacy user migration, Thorchain and Rune launch and campaign, as well as a couple of on-off and merch store random other things that we will continue to elaborate on moving forward into the next 6-week sprint. Other updates, we have our DAppBack loyalty program launching next week. We have a new HTML newsletter sent monthly. We also have an email reputation improvement program working alongside product, specifically Willie, making sure that all the people on our wonderful emailing list are getting those emails, and you can read the rest for yourself. T. Wells is a new full-time contributor, as well as Zapate, who's a part-time taking over streaming from PTT. On the next slide, looking ahead, we have the Metaphoro integration / migration, which is actually currently happening and has happened as of this moment. If you haven't already checked that out, go do that. We also have Rams and Validator staking campaigns, specifically launching those next week and the following weeks, and that is part of a larger discussion and awareness of a marketing funnel, in collaborating with the product workstream to funnel users through our application and making sure they hit as many revenue-generating touch points as possible and that they come back to our app every single time. That comes to understanding of customer long-term value and how we want to shape and craft that narrative that we are in fact engaging with them on. T. Wells will explain more about some of these interesting metrics.
GM, everybody. Yeah, I'll be quick on this. The YouTube side, we're really excited to have a chance to reboot the main account. And so last time we had a marketing public, I shared a bit about this just in terms of how we're organizing our streams and content. So we have 2 channels in effect now. One, the DAO channel that was spun up, I guess, a little bit less than a year ago now, or around a year ago. will serve as our transparency channel. And so we'll have all the public meetings streamed to that specific YouTube account. And All Fox is being streamed there as well. We're experimenting with some different streaming logistics and content. Most recently, we're able to capture the Twitter space where Willie and John joined the Brave community. And that actually got the most views of recent streaming content on the transparency channel. So check that out if you're interested in listening in or listening after the fact in. On any of our public calls, we're doing the Op Sprint, we're doing Foxnomics, and we're doing weekly governance. And of course, we're covering AMAs as well as hopefully now Twitter Spaces. Going on the last month, we've had some nice startup growth here, and the content that we've been pushing on the right-hand side, you can see the double bar chart there. On the left-hand portion, you have the global averages. So the content we've been pushing recently, both in terms of engagement measured in likes per view, as well as conversions to new subscribers, is all on point and above global averages. So continue tracking that. On the next slide, quickly on Twitter, as H-Pain mentioned, I've recently come on in a more full-time capacity and coming up to speed on all kinds of different things, one of which is Twitter, and had the opportunity to hop on and look at the analytics recently. First thing I did when I sort of zoomed out was look at the last 6 months, and the bar chart on the left-hand side shows an extreme amount of volatility in terms of just follower growth month over month, to the point where we had in May almost 6,400 new followers, and then in September we had almost negative 100. So there's a lot of interesting and somewhat strange things going on there, but the sort of silver lining on the right-hand side, I think, is that we're maintaining engagement at a steady level despite the follower volatility. And so all I can say is I think it's fair, looking at the data here, to target a 4% engagement rate on Twitter as something we want to reach and then exceed. I think would be a fair goal. And then moving on, we got some data from Willie on the Medium, and this is not something we've been leaning into directly, but obviously something that will be packaged into all campaign thinking, Medium marketing campaign thinking going forward. And so there's some numbers here to take a look at for the last 30 days. Still seeing growth, again, despite the fact that it is not a direct priority at the moment. And that's all I got for today. I'm going to pass it back to you, H-Pain.
All right. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. So we have our mobile app release. We're doing a lot of PR campaigns, and by a lot, I mean a couple on some key big moments, because they do cost a fair amount of money. This most recent one, we hit 309 different distributions, some of the key ones being Yahoo, Seeking Alpha, Insider Markets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to learn more information about this, stop by Marketing Office Hours. On the next slide, the key takeaways here, if you look at TVI, which is the Total Visibility Index, the industry average, crypto specifically, for total visibility index is 50. We actually exceeded the average, which is great. We were better than average. And we also had a fairly high pickup score and engagement rate for this specific press release. If you look at the comparable other ones, starting in March, going May, June, July, this is one of the better performing, if not, close to the top performing one. So that was very exciting to see. On to the next one, the mobile app release. The thing that everyone is talking about is, you can see the big dark blue number. That is the creme de la creme. So we released on Wednesday at 10 a.m. You could see it hit the wire. And then we hit our peak users on the app. This is from Pendo at 292 unique users in that hour. And since then, the biggest insight since that PR moment is that we've been averaging probably 10 to 20, cresting maybe 30 more visitors per hour on average, sort of since then. Which is, who knows if that's sustainable, but it's been a nice takeaway since then. ShapeShift.com insights. In general, our target audience, specifically, who would have guessed it's in the United States? The other key takeaways here, we have second most demographics using this is in Russia, India, United Kingdom, Brazil, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Canada. As well as here's our impressions for this last month. As you can see, we started about 6,500 impressions, and by the end of the month leading into October, we are cresting just over 16,000. So that is quite impressive there. The impressions from October were not loaded, so those are not able to be presented today. On to the next slide, a detailed look into growth. Again, we are looking at October for the last 3 weeks, as October is still in progress. We have another 5-6 days. The blue chart on the left is September. The second bar is the current month, and then if this month were to conclude at the current trajectory that it has been going, is the far right one. And as you can see, if we were to continue the growth that we've been seeing this entire month, we would be actually either flat or growing in almost every one of these categories, specifically on ShapeShift.com. Very, very exciting. Moving on to additional items. We have marketing has been trying to identify, solid USP. Who's our target audience and users? Like, as a DAO, what are our values? And along those lines, trying to figure out what is our converted, cost for consumer, blah, 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 blah. you want to learn more, stop by office hours. Here's some stuff for you to look at. Going on to the next slide, we have the shared marketing metrics with product. These are just some snippets. The TLDR, Diggy already gave most of it. If you wanted a breakdown of those numbers specifically, you can go check out this presentation and check this out. Going on to the next slide, along with trades, the same thing that Diggy was saying earlier, right? Like marketing push has not happened for cow swaps, so it's actually been really awesome that the volume there has been so significant, as well as maintaining sort of on the 0x. And yeah, this is basically, if you have any other questions, stop by in marketing and we'd be happy to share further breakdowns of these metrics with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, HPain and QL. Let's move on into growth and globalization. GM the Smith.
Tyler and GM, everybody. Very happy to share globalization work stream highlights with ads from September to October. So we divided this presentation into translation metrics, a quick overview about the global languages traffic analysis, and past month events, and lastly, next steps for globalization. We usually bring social metrics, but this month we focus heavily on both legendary events, and I mean Cosmoverse and DevCon. So we spend resources on people in these strategic locations, and that's why we do not bring broad social metrics in this time. But in addition, I would like to wish Fox Propers to the Martin team that has always been coordinating joint works with us, and also Grey Machine for their professionalism and producing second arts for the mobile app, and not just in English, but in the global languages. Switching to the next slide, we got to see the translation metrics. Start with this. Our team deployed 12 pull requests so far, which means 1 pull request a week. And currently the team is working on Weglog and Git localized strings review. Both are translations tools that are handled with .com and app translations, and also keeping the 4 supported languages in app at least 97 to 100% translated. Globalization is able to do some SEO tasks and have been monitoring the supported languages traffic in ShapeShift.com over the last 3 months. So this snapshot represents 3-month data. So I'm using now.
You're talking about the one slide and some presentations in the next one. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, could you move to the traffic analytics?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cool. So besides helping provide some data from good Go analytics sources to the other work streams, we have been monitoring this traffic. So Germany and Spain traffic growth, we can see in the next slide. Also focusing in Spanish community building, we still have a lot to do. We can't see any Spanish traffic in this snapshot, so this raised us an alert. Also keep pushing Brazilian backlinks with editors, aiming strengthening the Google organic presence, and this comes to the SEO tests that Global have been developing. All right, Vlad, do you want to add something? Sorry, I know that.
Not in this slide.
Yeah, cool.
The other one.
I know that I start to talk and then Okay, so we can see ups and downs. We can see that the traffic growing from Germany and Spain in this slide. So we have some change. We can see some numbers here, making it didactic. Also brought this ups and downs from last month to this month. So we are comparing our current user base and new users. Those are our ups, and on next slide, we can see our downs. We lose traffic from France and Brazil, and yeah, this also can raise an alert. So that's why we will keep monitoring and try to understand and reverse this negative growth in both regions.
We had a couple of important events. One of them was Cosmoverse, where we're chilling for the first time the Fox chain technology that we're going to be releasing next year. There's lots of cool stuff to talk about, but one of the things that was very clear in the trip is that we need to be focused on researching the most popular on-ramp, off-ramp methods. In Brazil's case, it's PIX. In Colombian case, for example, something called NACI and other stuff. So this was a good research after all. And for those cool events, made a special merch like shirts, stickers, info cards, and those NFT cards that were distributed on the conference as usual, and people love it. We also threw a FoxChain VIP party in the presidential suite of Medellin Hotel. Post-event was a very nice event. I'm gonna share some pictures in the global files and share in the community. Yeah, and then lots of good conversation started there, as once a nice conversation with Brave starting at Ethereum Rio. All the events are like that. Nice conversation starts on Telegram, and I hope to see good partnerships coming up from this event, meaningful partnerships, trusting works, and you can also see a very cool photo of our foxes together. Okay, next slide maybe.
Cool, next steps. So we got to finish our 2022 event agenda in Rio and back to community building, mainly Spanish. We started to focus on this language again. More bounties in share platform, because now we are looking for a Russian translator reference, so the bounty is live. Vlad, I guess you can speak a little bit about the Doing Good idea and the Validation Guild program that you have in mind. Also keep supporting crossed works between global and other work stream, from content production to data source, right? So Vlad,
okay. Yeah, first on building community, just to refresh everyone's memories, one of the biggest challenges of global is to solve how to break the barriers the other community has to enter, consume, and understand ShapeShift. That extends to the communities. We have a bunch of people using WhatsApp, have some difficulties in Telegram. We try to make use of Discord and the ShapeShift features as well, the on-ramps, off-ramps, and validating on channels and stuff like that. So talking about communities and validation, that's both stuff we're trying to make easier to people in different regions. So on validation, we're starting this program with a circle of trust, and then when you're gonna walk through the steps of validating chains of ShapeShift and join the ecosystem in this way. On communities, we're still discovering the next steps of making user and making our community, which is a very good and healthy community on social media so far in Web2 and Web3 social media. And we're figuring out the path for integrating this community more and more on the really core of ShapeShift is about. So Validation Guild will be a program for doing that, and also gonna make the community more closer and expand itself from the community, bringing more community for this very interesting Validation Guild, which is a win-win situation. We will be able to do it with some budget left from the recent budget change we had. So that's on Validation Guild and community. On top of bounties, we're running a recurring bounty on the Twitter space. I do recommend we work on Twitter space on our main Twitter too, because it's been really good. We've been able to maintain regular weekly Twitter space with a contributor from Bankless, Amandita, which is our new host. And curatorship and reading of Giriba. So maintaining those weekly events, we were able to maintain a base of followers on our Brazilian Twitter and Spanish Twitter. We hope that to grow more and more and more with time, and in no Twitter space to help us to maintain. But some smart actions will make it grow pretty soon and help to break some barriers like that.
Awesome, Vlad. You are the machine, man. Vlad also brought the social insights. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Tyler, for hosting this.
Of course. Thanks, Vlad. Thanks to Smith. Always love hearing updates from you guys over in Globalization GM. And I will be representing operations this All Fox. and I'll try and move quickly through here. You can see overviews of all of the releases that we've done in September and October. September, we had an increase in releases per week. October decreased, kind of a little bit of a teeter-totter across September and October. And I would address or acknowledge most of these kind of differences have been aligned with us pushing to parity. The biggest things to acknowledge in this that are maybe different from previous All Foxes is that we did have quite an increase in prod issues, both in September and then again in October. And this we can also kind of align with the merge and prod issues that were just kind of created while we had deep focus on getting everything out for the parity push. For our KPIs, we actually had quite a few KPIs we didn't hit due to this focus there. So we missed our 99% uptime. We also way overshot our prod issue hours, and we missed our 80% triage resolution rate. We can again attribute almost all of this to the deep heads down focus on parity. And we did meet our less than 10 production issue escalations per quarter, and we're not missing any cadences or having rollbacks. So that's at least still moving in the right direction. Looking at test funds and minor fees here, we're continually going on a decrease for how much ops is spending per month and per commit or per release. And you can see that in September, we're paying $3 a commit, and in October, we're down to $1.70. Commit. So pretty cool there. It's really due to optimizations and our team being more efficient and doing more smoke tests and full regressions. So I'm seeing a little bit of an increase from prod issues that might be correlated with our smoke testing versus our regression testing, but also able to resolve those pretty quickly. Looking at the bounties, there's a whole bunch of numbers here on bounties, big takeaways. Fox, we paid 81,000 Fox, or $6,600 in USD over both of the months. And Zero Making comes in, or Xerox making, Neo Making comes in at our #1 bounty for the last 30 days with Brian right behind him. Quickly over governance and triage, 62 governance calls, 337 topics, although I'm sure that number is going to increase now that we are over in Metaphoro. And you can look at our numbers for our voters and ballots. And again, our triage resolution rate was at 66.66% instead of our 80% or above, which we like to hit. And we will be looking at the triage process and how we can resolve these things to bring that number back up as one of our subjects and ops both before and during the powwow. So look forward to seeing some changes on these KPIs here in the future as we kind of reconvene our own strategy. And that's it for operations. Up next, we've got the key work stream.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can.
First, we can look at sales numbers. So unfortunately, hardware wallet sales are highly correlated with market conditions, and the markets have not exactly been booming. So our sales for the past several months have been substantially lower than we hoped to see. But, I think we're just going to have to make it to the other side of the bear market. And we expect that at that time, we'll be positioned to start moving keep keys in substantially higher volume than we've seen so far. Still, per our revenue share agreement with the DAO, we've distributed 1,100 USDC to the Foxy contract and another 5120 USDC to the DAO treasury directly. And I think it's important also to keep in mind that the revenue share agreement between keep key and the DAO is to be ongoing. So the DAO will continue to see a percentage of keep key's top line revenues into and through the next bull run. So despite the low sales numbers indicating that it's been difficult to attract new users, Pendo data does show that we've done a good job at retaining our current users. So based on clicks in the web app, KeepKey is the most popular wallet for desktop users, coming in at #2 behind native overall. So that's been nice to see. People have been happy with the KeepKey devices and are continuing to use them. Behind the scenes, during the past several months, we have been happily hacking away at some major development objectives that are intended to bring in new users and ensure that KeepKey retains its status as a competitive product offering in the hardware wallet space. So at the top of the list has been the Wallet Connect as a wallet integration. That is very closely nearing completion, and that will immediately bring KeepKey support to thousands of dApps. So that's something that we're extremely excited about. Another thing that we've managed to knock out is that the support for the EIP 712 standard for typed message signing has been added to KeepKey firmware. So that's intended to solve the common problem where users have to blindly sign hex-encoded typed message data. The key now does parse and display fields from the IP712 encoded messages to users. So users can be confident that the transactions they're signing are the ones they intend to sign. Additionally, we've got 15 bounties either already completed or in progress on DWork. We've begun adding EIP712 support to HD Wallet KeepKey so that that feature and firmware can be leveraged by developers. And we've begun adding signed payload verification support to KeepKey. And so with the combination of EIP712 support and the signed payload verification feature, KeepKey will be the safest and most secure hardware wallet platform on the market at a price that's less than or equal to each of our direct competitors. So we're quite confident that with the marketing push after these two features are integrated, we should see sales pick back up even in the bear market, and we'll be well positioned for success once the market conditions improve. And that's all from me.
Thanks, Pasta. And thanks. Up next, we've got support. GM, welcome back.
Oh, you got me covered. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It's me, Crypto Meg. I'm back. And the updates I have for you today are that I have a Foxy McFox face with me now. For those of you that may have been following along prior to me going on maternity leave, we were putting up some sort of bounty to have me pay or to have me name my child Foxy McFoxface, and we did. So you guys can go ahead and pay up now. Also, it's just exciting to hear a lot of new voices in this particular call. So I just wanted to give a hat tip to that. After being away for a little while, it's cool to just see some or hear some new voices instead of seeing new faces. So support updates, I'll run through these pretty quickly. There's nothing too wild about them, kind of matching the rest of the stats that others are sharing that are related to the market. Things continue to be a little bit slower, but we continue to be efficient with our customer support. One interesting fact is we had a little over 600 total tickets created since our last chat, and 62 of them were from Discord. So we're starting to see a slight increase in popularity with people reaching out through Discord, and we've kind of created a new process to make sure everything goes through that ticket box that was created by GK and the Mod Squad. All of the articles related to the legacy mobile app and beta.shapeshift.com have all been removed from the help desk, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about that on the next slide. Yes, I'm back from maternity leave. Yeah, Mogi added that part in there. And our support proposal and services are expiring on December 31st. So be on the lookout for a new proposal from us that we are starting to work on that will include some new ideas as well. And I also wanted to announce, for those of you that don't know, our dearest Donna, who is one of the kick-ass leaders on the support work stream, is having a baby boy in December. So if you guys have a moment, share some love with her when you see her online and congratulate her. It's coming right around the corner, and she'll be leaving for maternity leave in December. So we will manage that from there. And here's a list of all of our new articles. This is probably one of the biggest updates that has been happening over the past 6 to 8 weeks, as you guys know, with all of the major changes happening with migration. We had peaked at about 200 help desk articles, and one might think that that's crazy, but if you knew how many plates we've been spinning, which a lot of you do over the course of the past couple of years and in the transition to a DAO, it was just kind of the nature of the beast. So now we have about 100 articles. Tons of them are archived due to irrelevance and the products changing and this migration happening, as well as over 40 of the existing articles have been updated just to match all the UI UX changes that have happened. So I won't read through this list of articles, but obviously these slides will be available for all of you. So if you wanted to take a look, the new articles are obviously including all the changes that have happened over the course of the past week and a half. And then in that box down at the bottom right are the most viewed articles. So this is from mid-September to mid-October. So KeepKey, one of the most viewed, is the top viewed. Although this week, one of the biggest ones was what happened to beta.shapeshift.com for obvious reasons. And this is just a quick look at the stream of tickets coming in and the reply time, as well as a glance at just the overall help desk views since mid-September. So there was, as you can see, a bump in mid-September and then a bump in mid-October, which kind of aligns with what has been happening, like Tyler had mentioned in the operations section, with prod issues, as well as migration and all the announcements around that. Our reply time has maintained, an hour or less, and our resolution time has maintained less than 24 hours, which is our goal. And the help desk views total for this period has been 7,752 unique views. So any questions for us, feel free to now direct them to me, Mogi, or Donna, of course, but I am back. My DMs are open, and I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody and reconnecting with the workshop. Thank you.
Thanks, Meg. Moving right along so we can sneak this all in before 4, we've got the mod squad, GM, GK.
GM, October was 1% up with 9,689 members. We're up to 9,844 members now. If you go with the 30 days, it's 128 in the last 30 days. Obviously, it's going up a little bit sooner again, faster again. 34 raids now. Get a little sloppy on counting, so it's a little harder. 3,221 bots or so. It's cut by those 3. The fake mods for admin stuff is actually down a little bit. It's more like roughly 1 a day, but there's a lot more scammers and posts I've seen recently. The language is still the same, didn't change. Next slide. I like this comparison. I think it shows me a lot, tells me a lot. The English users, obviously that's a new role, so that's going up. And I'm doing away with the verified Fox. Of course, it's going to be a while. But you see all the numbers going up, except for a couple, I think it was, I don't remember which one now. One of them went down. Korean, actually. Next slide. Obviously, the biggest thing is don't trust, verify. It's actually one of my first meetings that I really enjoyed from the security system. McPerlin did. And but for I was live, it's gonna be a learning curve for everybody to figure out. I'm taking the credit for setting it all up, but it was all the McFurrow team and Willie. I think I said this last time, but the global chats, they're kind of neat. I like them. Go check them out. There's English global, and then there's every language. It's automatically translated. Try it out. That's it for me. I'm easy.
Thanks, GK. Quick and easy. All right, on to tokenomics with Kent. GM, sir.
Hello, Tyler. I'll do my best, everybody. We have Fox Nation coming directly to you from tokenomics. I can't do it. H-Pain's the master. But anyway, yes, let's talk about the finances of the DAO. The TLDR here is we remain in a very strong position to weather this bear market and survive and emerge from it in a very strong position. But let's look at the specifics. So in terms of our runway projections, currently the DAO is sitting just on a little less than 2.8 million worth of stables. Interestingly, this now includes not just USDC, but 6 figures worth of LUSD, which is more decentralized. And even though it has its own set of risks, it is not something that could be blacklisted potentially like USDC. So thanks to Bond Protocol for allowing that to happen as we raise funds via that method. So with a projected monthly spend looking ahead to December of about 256K, current runway is 10 months. That's through August of next year. As always, note that these projections assume 0 revenue and additional diversification into stables via bonds or any other means. If you want additional color on that, refer to Ocean's revenue projections, which he presented recently on tokenomics for more nuance on that. And on the liability side of the equation, there is a little over $500,000 worth of FEI remaining to pay off on the Rari Pool 7. So in terms of just kind of visualizing our stable stack, you'll notice, we continue this very nice, orderly, predictable, and pretty shallow sort of decline in our stable reserves. You'll notice that this month the drawdown was a little bit more than the average. I will explain this or why that is on the following slide here. So yeah, why is the runway holding up so well? You'll recall that when we really started looking at preserving our runway in earnest back in like May, it was always sort of like 10 months out. Well, here we are in like November and it's still 10 months out. So why do we still have these projections? How come it's not getting smaller by the month? So there's a few factors at work here. One is KeyP's decision not to request more from the DAO following their current proposal in November. Of course, Highlander and Potsaghost have done amazing work for the DAO and with KeyP, but that spend is ending in November, so I've prorated that spend since it ends, I believe, around the a third of the way through the month. Additionally, FoxChain requested the remaining 150K USDC worth of their allocation given them via governance in October. So hence that drawdown again was a little bit more than expected. In the projections, I've averaged 50K a month. So the key thing here though is with that proposal over, there is going to be a second proposal. John and others are working on this for FoxChain. It remains to be seen how much will be needed from the DAO, but it's likely, it appears that it would be less than 50K. For the sake of forecasting, I've projected 25K a month, half of what was being spent before. Do put a little mental asterisk next to that because that could change moving forward depending on how the proposal works out. But I feel like for proposal or projection's sake, this is a good estimate. So anyway, between these two reductions, the DAO is saving 75K a month, and of course, this really makes its presence felt as you extrapolate through the months. Finally. Point number 3 here, we've continued to sell both Olympus and DAO protocol bonds, allowing continued repayment of Rari Pool 7 without touching the stable stack. And you add all that up and we're still looking at a runway into not quite a year, but we're almost there. On the TMDC side, and this relates closely to everything I was just talking about, both the runway and the Rari loan. So two separate but similar platforms have been presenting to the TMDC and the broader tokenomics community recently. That's Arbor, which is a fork of Porter, which we had previously vetted closely, and Hourglass. So both of these new platforms aim to provide fixed rate borrowing without the risk of liquidations. Of course, that is a notable difference versus the Rari Fuse loans, which do have liquidation points. Also, maturities on these can be a lot longer versus other alternatives, like we're talking 12 to 18 months. Again, these are new, they're not quite in production yet, they'll be launching imminently here. So one potential use case for the DAO is to use these platforms to borrow stables at a much lower rate than we're currently paying on Rari. The Rari loan is a ridiculous, like 120% interest, APR interest rate. So the idea would be use those, a combination perhaps of these platforms to borrow funds at a lower rate and longer term maturity, and then pay off Rari. And then we could save on, perhaps up to around 100K worth of expected interest until we pay that thing off, given the projected 150K a month that we've been paying that off. Additionally, the DAO could also borrow stables beyond that loan amount and then add stables and lengthen the runway, albeit at the cost of incurring additional long-term debt here. So in terms of whether or not this is a good idea, note that this is the novelty, the newness of these platforms comes with increased smart contract risk. Of course, these platforms have audits. We're also going to internally take a look at them if we decide to move forward. But anytime you have a brand new sort of platform, there is additional smart contract risk relative to something that has the Lindy effect going on and that has been live for several months. Additionally, it's unclear whether there would be sufficient demand for these offerings. But of course, there's only one way to find out. And we will find out if we decide to move forward on these protocols here. In terms of the liquidity of the service, also with Tribe, I think this will be the last time I mention this in the All Fox here because it's becoming less of a factor. But you might recall there was some consternation about the fact that over 15 million Fox were locked in this Tribe-controlled smart contract. In the wake of that protocol winding down, there's only about 10.7 Fox remaining. After several weeks of redemptions, it just is continually slowly distributed. So we have less of chance that a few big actors will suddenly liquidate this Fox. It's becoming less of a likely scenario here. Quick update on VFox. You probably haven't heard a ton about VFox lately. The reason is this sub-DAO dedicated to strategic allocations is, of course, less active in this bear market, but certainly still active. So in terms of updates, the VFox committee of John, Willie, and myself was recently reapproved via governance for another 6-month term. We are continuing to vet projects, albeit with an extremely selective and cautious approach. If runway conditions were to improve from where they are now, that would likely prompt a slightly more aggressive approach to allocations. But for the time being, kind of a status quo, we're continuing to keep an eye out. Still could potentially make allocations if it feels right. Finally, Yieldies here. I did want to just bring this up so it doesn't get it remains somewhat top of mind here. This is the yield-bearing asset similar to Foxy that is really generalizable to any sort of ERC20, meaning you can just, or you just lock up your token and easily earn yield on it. Yield is hard to come by in this bear market. Say tokamak, the currently approved strategy has been more difficult, and that's tricky, but things will change over time. And this is sort of in the product phase now, as the DAO determines how to get this out to users. It'll touch a lot of different parts of the DAO as well, engineering, marketing, but I did want to remind everybody that we have this wonderful, unique sort of financial primitive in our toolbox to bring to the broader world. I believe that was my last slide. And just one very quick last thing. I just want to note how much better I think the DAO is positioned relative to a lot of other projects that don't maybe have a stablecoin allocation. At DevCon, we ran into a lot of projects that don't have the luxury of stables, and they're relying on their native tokens. So again, of course, I'm biased. I love this project, but I think we are truly going to make it and live to kick ass in the next bull market. So thanks for listening, everybody, and have an excellent day.
Thank you, Kent. And just bringing up the caboose, we got Willie with the Foundation. GM, sir.
Hello, GM Foxes. Hope you guys are all having the best day ever. As a quick reminder, the Foundation is not a work stream, but is a not-for-profit organization with the mission of supporting the DAO and achieving full decentralization. And since last All Fox, we've made some giant leaps of progress towards this mission. Mobile app has been launched and all of the users are migrated. Web app has been migrated. It's been said multiple times, but bears repeating. Huge Fox props to everyone at both the Foundation and the DAO that contributed to this. It's a critical milestone for both of us. And also, we have, as of today, migrated our forum to the new Metaphoro space. If you haven't checked it out already, it's at forum.shapeshift.com. So we've redirected that to the new Metaphoro space, and all of the discourse history was migrated over to Metaphoro as well. So there are instructions pinned at the top of home for how you can link your legacy forum history from discourse with your new Metaphoro account. If anyone has any issues with that, the Metaphoro team is standing by to help. It goes for any issues that you encounter, as well as any feedback that you guys have for how they can improve it. A huge shout out to the Metaphoro team. Pretty much every feature request we've had, they've been able to turn around really quickly, and they're building some amazing things and have a really cool roadmap focused on building the best forum tools for DAOs. And they would love to hear your feedback. Ideation is still taking place in Snapshot. Part of the reason we moved over to Metaphoro so that we could migrate the ideation process here. However, we're going to wait until Wallet Connect Part 2 is done so that Keep Key users won't lose their ability to vote on these ideation posts. But stay tuned. We'll let you guys know when ideation is ready to be transitioned to Metaphoro. So what is next for the Foundation now that we've achieved this critical milestone? We plan to actively participate in the DAO strategization conversations that are happening. Thank you, DeFi and Ocean, for getting those started, and hope all of you guys will participate in those as well. Very much looking forward to the DAO powwow in December as well, and we'll share more information on that soon. We're also planning to support Fox chain development, as this is also a critical step for the Foundation to dissolve into fully decentralized ShapeShift, and something that we think we can help with. And further, we are looking at what the roadmap looks like to fully dissolve the Foundation. Now that we're done with this milestone that we've been so focused on, we're looking at the remaining Foundation responsibilities and figuring out the pathway to be able to transition control for all of these over to the community. Or if that's not possible, then potentially find some alternative solutions. One thing that we're very cognizant of is that the fact that currently the DAO or the Foundation has more stablecoin runway than the DAO does. And it's always been our plan to return any remaining funds in our treasury to the DAO once we've achieved our mission and can dissolve the Foundation. So I hope to have a better update for you guys on this by the next All Fox, but know that right now we are looking at the remaining Foundation responsibilities. Here are some of the examples of what those are. I'm sure we're forgetting some here, and figuring out what will it take and when could we realistically potentially dissolve the Foundation, and how many stablecoins can we expect to have left at that time? So along with that, we are hit the last goal that we had proposed to the board, and our plan is to propose a new goal to the board that we can hold ourselves accountable to. And we'll see if we can potentially have a goal around a date where the Foundation could potentially dissolve. And as a reminder, if you ever need anything the DAO can't provide, please ask us in the Fox Foundation channel. We'll do our best to help. I want to give a super quick reminder to stay strong during the bear market, which is easier said than done. Some of us know this very well, and others are experiencing it for the first time. These bear markets can be incredibly challenging, both for the projects and for their contributors. And sometimes it can feel like all the hope is lost, and that can have a really serious impact on your mental well-being. But the bull market will return. I have no doubt about this. And the projects that are able to maintain momentum and keep building through the bear will be handsomely rewarded. So take care of yourself, avoid burnout, and remember all the things that we have to be grateful for, a lot of which we just covered in this presentation. We do have users, we have revenues, and we have a very functional DAO with an amazing community. And we have runway to keep building. So let's continue to work to extend that runway and execute thoughtfully to put ourselves in the best position for when the bull market returns. Appreciate all of you so much.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Willie. Very much appreciate it. GM, sir, thank you for all the work that you do at the Fox Foundation, and wish a GM to everyone out there in the DAO. We're all gonna make it, fam. Hang in there, GM.